So here we are then for the final episode of the Formula 1 2014 mid-season review from the S-Team, well rather from me, Jack from the S-Team, and on this final episode we're going to be looking at the dominant team for this season, the number one team so far, which is Mercedes, and what a season they've had. Absolutely brilliant. They've had two drivers in the form of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg absolutely going tooth and nail for this title, and it just looks set to continue that way when we come back to Spa in 2 weeks' time. What a performance they've had this year, and straight off the bat from testing they proved that, and they went into the Australian Grand Prix full of hope and optimism, and sure enough Nico Rosberg got a great victory, almost dominant victory, ahead of the rest of the field, about 24 seconds ahead of Ricciardo before he was penalised. Hamilton was running as well until he had a problem with his engine on the second lap, and that put him out, but he had qualified on pole at that point, so it begs to differ whether he would have been able to dominate the field. I think he probably would have been. I think he would have been right up there with Rosberg, tooth and nail with him. Malaysia, this time different winner, Lewis Hamilton. A great win for him. A sort of, I wouldn't say a dominant win, but a convincing win ahead of Nico Rosberg. I mean, 17 seconds is quite a big gap for the two cars so far this season, and they were the class of the field once again in Malaysia, but they went on, and Bahrain really kick-started this rivalry that people have compared to Prost versus Senna, and it's an absolutely brilliant performance. Rosberg on the fresher tyres against Hamilton battling away in his not so fresh tyres, a lot laps older. A brilliant race, absolute, and the best thing was they were battling way ahead of the rest of the field, and they were almost 3 seconds a lap faster. That's how far that dominant advantage they had was, and it was an incredible battle. Rosberg had the lead briefly, then Hamilton, then Rosberg. Absolutely classic racing, and that really put it into for the rest of the season. China, Hamilton got another win. I mean, this time he was 18 seconds ahead of Rosberg, but more sort of strategy in the fact that Rosberg he only qualified fourth that race, which was a surprise for Mercedes, but he was able to battle through quite easily, got second place, and it was another 1-2 for Mercedes, the third one of the season, which quickly became 4 in Spain as Hamilton won another great scrap between the two drivers by 0.6 of a second this time. Rosberg admittedly was catching Hamilton right towards the end. Had there been another couple of laps, he could have got past Hamilton, but sadly there weren't enough laps for him, and Hamilton got another victory, and another 1-2, as I've said, at Spain. Monaco this time, Rosberg proved around the tight and technical streets of Monaco that he had the pace ahead of Hamilton. Admittedly there weren't that much pace between, about 0.3 of a second, but round Monaco that's worth a lot, and Rosberg put that to good use. Plus he looked after the tyres a little bit better, and Hamilton had his problems during that race, and that caused him to almost get overtaken by Ricciardo, but again another 1-2 for Mercedes, and not many people were complaining. Things were about to change in Canada though. A chink in the Mercedes armour was finally shown, and Hamilton retired with his brakes, and Rosberg had problems all the way through his race with brakes as well after a great performance, and they were battling all the way through that race up until that point, and then Rosberg was holding on until the 67th lap when Ricciardo overtook him, but a big psychological blow was dealt to Hamilton with that. 18 points for Rosberg, and Hamilton not finishing, another good scrap between the two of them. Austria was a bit different, and Hamilton's mechanical problems started up once more after qualifying when he braked, but at first everyone assumed it was a brake failure of some sort, but it turned out it was driver error. He'd spun round going into turn 2, or turn 3 rather, at the hairpin, and he started 9th, and he was able to claw his way back, and he was catching Rosberg, he was right behind him at the end, but Rosberg was able to pull through, got that victory, and pulled further ahead of Hamilton again in the World Championship. But Rosberg's bad luck was to come eventually, and sure enough at the British Grand Prix it happened. He was leading that race, and I think he probably would have gone on to win that race, in the end, but gearbox problem cut that short, and Hamilton was able to coast to victory at his home Grand Prix. Great drive from him, absolutely controlled the race from there on in. And then going into Germany, this time it was all reversed. Rosberg took a dominant win ahead of the Williams of Valtteri Bottas, and Hamilton had a brilliant drive from 20th on the grid, absolutely stormed his way through the field to finish third. Just couldn't get past Bottas in the end after some good defensive driving, but more encouraging signs that Hamilton could have easily beat Rosberg at that race. But sadly it weren't to be, and Rosberg again stretched his advantage out. Hungary, though, some problems really for Rosberg, more due to bad timing of the safety car, and strategy-wise, maybe they didn't have the best strategy. That's why they caused them to finish only third and fourth. And it was Hamilton who finished ahead after starting stone dead last from the pit lane. Great drive from him to finish third in the end. Absolutely brilliant, and Rosberg was right behind him. He was closing at the rate of 2 seconds a lap to catch up to the back of Hamilton, but couldn't get through, sadly, for him. And it's now left us in a position where this season is going to be unbelievable. There's going to be more victories for the two of them, and I do believe that the gap between them in terms of points is not that much. I think I'm right in saying that this season I think Hamilton's won more races than Rosberg. I think he's won 5, I think he's won 6 actually. Rosberg's won 3, and the other 2 have gone to Ricciardo. The gap between them is only 11 points, and it's going to be tooth and nail all the way to the end of the season. My personal belief is that I do think that Rosberg will get the better of Hamilton. I think he's just got that consistency, and he's got the luck on his side at the minute. I mean, luck does play a crucial part in Formula 1, but I think Rosberg's got enough nous about him now to go on and win a championship, and I think although Hamilton's definitely got the pace, or the pace advantage over Rosberg, it's going to be really, really close, and it's going to be an absolutely thrilling end to the season, and I can't wait to see it. That concludes essentially the mini-series that we've had on the S team for the Formula 1 2014 season. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed doing it. I love Formula 1. We all do like Formula 1 here at the S team. We love all forms of motorsport, and there's going to be some more interesting things coming up in the next few months that we're going to be planning on doing, so look forward to that. And going to be a cracking end to the second half of the season for the Formula 1 World Championship. So thanks very much for listening, and hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.